Hi again. We're back at the deck list. And now, obviously you can see some cards have been, tossed out. But that's okay. So let's just go over the deck list so that people can understand what the cards do and what they don't do. These cards, this barrier statue could be anything. It can be another barrier statue. It can be a Jowgen. But this is the highest attack, and most decks don't run water monsters these days. Don't run the Earth statue. Just don't. An also important thing is that all three of these are different types, which is important for there could be only one. But yeah, this prevents special summoning. This prevents it, but better, and has more attack. And this isn't really a monster. It's just like a vanilla that searches Dogmatic Punishment. And has like some effects that people don't pick up on sometimes. But the other effects, like you can't special summon from the extra deck, like we're not doing that anyway. You use this within a deer. So let's move on to some of the board breakers. Raigeki. This is important to not be Lightning Storm, because when it's not Lightning Storm, you can use it in your simplified game state that you create, so that you can get rid of their monsters on the field. Heartbeat, same deal. You can use this when you have monsters on the field, or cards that are face up or whatever. Card draw. Or just like searches. It's kind of painful that we've lost some of these cards, but you can just play like Upstart Goblin. It's not great. It's definitely not card of demise power, but it's something. At this point, you might even run some special summon tech, because you don't really need to worry. Because you lock yourself out of special summoning with this card or this card, but if you only run one of them, you might not even have to worry about that. You could probably run Kaiju's at a certain point. But you don't have to worry about that. These cards are just card draw and looking for a card that, you want. And obviously, you don't need to run these. You don't need to run Pot of Duality. Pot of Extrav, I'd say, is a mandatory play. It's why you run so many of these. But yeah, no card of demise. Kind of rough. Whatever. These cards just draw you cards. That's their purpose. A stun hand with 6 cards is better than a stun hand with 5. That's just plain and simple. The Dear Servant serves a lot of purposes. It's kind of like the best card. One of the best cards in the deck, I'd say. So you hit Nadir. You send Garura, or Entis, if you're going second. Send Garura, and Ecclesia to your hand. Garura draws you a card, and then Ecclesia can add you Punishment, and is a pretty beefy vanilla after that. Which also doesn't die to monster specials in the extra deck, but like, whatever. It comes up rarely. Sometimes people just try to crash into it, but you don't really care about this monster. It's just sometimes a big beater. You can send Entis. This just destroys a card they control, and you just gain card advantage if they don't ash this. You can send Garura, which, it just draws a card. Also, a recent tech, you can send Malong. This is basically Entis, but instead of targeting any card, it's just a face-up card, but you bounce it. So for cards like, what's it? It's Utopic. So this card, you can target this, but it cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. So if I Entis this, it doesn't matter. He wouldn't waste a negate on that. But if we try to Malong it, then he will. And it's also, applies to any card you would want to bounce instead of that. I don't think you'd run 3 of these, but, it's alright. So, well, let's move on. Time Tearing. You'd probably run 3 of these now. This is a really good card in pure stun. Less so other kinds of stun, but you get advantage of all the bonus effects. You can't activate monster effects in the hand. You don't do that. You don't play hand traps. It does mean that you can't special summon this, but you don't want to do that most of the time anyway. And you get 2 normal summons with this, so you can just normal summon it instead. Kind of works out about the same. Draw 2 cards instead of 1 for your normal draw during the draw phase. So you create the grind game, the simplified game state, and you just keep drawing cards on them when they only get 1 draw. So by the time they draw the out, you have 3 solemns on the field. Because you just draw so many cards. And you get 2 normal summons. So you can put Dyna and Barrier Statue. Which is significant because sometimes people will imperm the Dyna, and you just have to solemn that most of the time. But if you have 2 Dynas, or one of these and one of these, then you can just not really care. It also helps you remove cards from your hand for card of demise, if it was legal, still. It's not, but it was earlier. Bloodcard Knight. You can run 2 of these. I think 3 is the best. You don't want to activate 1, but this card is honestly goated. I really do like this card. This card in the actual deck that it's supposed to be played in, like Cyber Dragon, where you'd summon... where's the Cyber Dragon? You summon this thing, and then you make... You tribute the entire field, because this makes everything into machines. So you just tribute the entire field with this. Like, it's even better in that deck. In this deck, it's also still pretty good. So this makes your monsters gain 500. It makes their monsters lose 500. So suddenly, this can beat over... You know, this can't beat over a Rise Hearted defense. That's 2100 defense. If you activate Clockwork Knight, this goes up to 1700, and the Rise Heart goes down to 1600. So suddenly you can beat over it, and, you know, force them to do something. Or just kill them. This is effectively a protection. It's like having Moon Mirror Shield, but it does a little bit more. And, you know, you want Moon Mirror Shield if you have Jowgen. Look up Moon Mirror Shield. Moon Mirror Shield, I'm pretty sure you know what this does. If you don't, it just makes it so that you can't destroy the equipped monster by battle. Because this Moon Mirror Shield will make it so it gets the attack or defense, whichever is higher, plus 100. So it will always win battles. And it's during damage calc, so... You know, something like an Avermax will still lose the battle. But what this also does is it's a floodgate. Because it makes everything into machines. Where is that significant? Well... The first place that's significant is against Dragon. Why did Striker Dragon? So what does this need? A level 4 or lower Dragon monster. So you summon your Tracer, and then you make this. Oh no! It's a machine. And then, you know, you do your Cybers combos. You know, you try to resolve transcode. Oh, well, you can only special summon monsters the turn you activate this effect. Or you cannot special summon monsters except Cybers monsters the turn you activate this effect. But if I summon a monster, and then special summon a monster, and it becomes a machine when it hits the field, does that count? Yes. If you summon a Cybers while Clockwork Knight is on the field, even after Clockwork Knight leaves the field, you cannot activate transcode that turn. Which is really important. And obviously this synergizes with There Can Be Only One. We'll go over that when we get to it. But the gist is that... Well, actually, I'll just go over that when we get to it, because it's a pretty big interaction. So it's a Battle Golgonda. Nobody I've played with really knew what this card did. Even after... like, even after they saw exactly what it does. This card, it doesn't look that great. But... This is the important effect. Once per turn, if a card you control would be destroyed by battle or card effect, send a fusion monster that mentions Fallen of Albaz from the extra to the graveyard instead. What does that mean? Well, the important thing here is destroy by battle or card effect. So you can protect your Dyna from being destroyed, and it keeps its effect on the field. But the also important thing is that because if a card if a cards you control, why does that matter? Well, let's look at some cards. RP's Feather Duster. We run in the deck, obviously. Destroy all spell and traps your opponent controls. Decisive Battle Golgonda can protect all of your back row by just sending a Titanclad or a Mirror Jade. Which is, like, insane. Genuinely insane. And if they do like Raigeki, it's the same thing. It doesn't matter if it's like one monster, 5 monsters, 5 back row. It doesn't matter if it's what's the name of the card? Dark Magician. It's a quick play, I believe. It's the best example. Dark Burning Magic. If you control monsters in names, blah blah blah, destroy all cards your opponent controls. This can protect every card you control from being destroyed. Which, you know, when you think of other cards that can do similar, you think of Yugen. But here's the thing. If your opponent has Levy. Your opponent summons Levy, and they banish both Light and Dark, destroy up to 2 cards on the field. If they target Yugen, and then your Runic field spell, you can't protect, because Yugen is marked for destruction. If they target Decisive Battle Golganda and your Dyna, you can protect both of them. Because this can protect both of them. It's not like Yugen, where it can only protect other cards, not itself. It can protect other cards from destruction, but not itself. But this one can. Also, if you have 2 of them on the field, you can use this twice. Has that come up? Not really. If you have another one in hand, I'd probably just not set it so you can keep more back row space. But it comes up. Because it's a soft once per turn. Let's continue. Book of Moon. Book of Moon. It's one of the best stun cards, honestly. Because it's great going second. You can just flip a Baron and it's done. Or you can use it to, as you saw in that last game, flip their Gishki monster face down. Which is very important. Because that makes them not able to attack. They lose time. The game state gets slowed down. It becomes a grindy game. And who's great in a grindy game? The deck where every card is gas. They're going to be drawing Max C while you're drawing Solemn Judgments. It's huge. Let's go to one of the bigger cards in this deck, Dogmatic Punishment. That explains this entire extra deck, except for these 2. So Dogmatic Punishment. If you send Entis, you can pop 1 card. If you send Garura, let's not remove a Garura, you can draw 1 card. If it's a really big monster, because Garura only has 1500, you can send Bucephalus, which is the 3500, and then this card, when it's sent, can send a Beast Warrior, or Wing Beast monster from extra deck. And this is a Wing Beast. So send this sends this, and then this draws a card. You can send Titanclad. What does it do? It can special summon a Dogmatica from your deck, which is this card. And you can send Malong. I also run Omega. You don't need to run Omega. I just have it because I have it. And if this card is in your graveyard, you can target this card and any other card in the graveyard, shuffle it into the deck. So, when does this come up? Not a whole lot. But if you resolve Pot of Extrav, you don't really have any good sends. You can send this instead. And you can use it to shuffle something from your graveyard or something from their graveyard. Not as a quick effect, just as a regular effect. Back into the deck. Which could be, you know, it could be a branded opening, which makes their fusion monsters no longer protected. It depends. It depends. This can also just shuffle back like an Entis or a Garura. Like if you banish a bunch of these and you don't have any good sends, but you still have this in the deck, you can, you know, you can target this. Well, this doesn't target itself, but it shuffles itself. Shuffle this back in the deck, and then send it again with Dogmatica or Nadir. You need to run this? No, you can run another Malong. There's a lot of URs in the extra deck here, but like the Titanclads, I'd say, are kind of important. These, you don't need these. There's another one. You can run 3 of. Yeah. Brigrand. This mentions Fallen of Albaz, so you can use it to send with his Decisive Battle instead of Mirror Jade and Rebellion. I just have them because, you know, because people might look at this and go, ah, it's Dogmatica. Anyway, Solemn Judgment, mandatory card. You run 3 of these. It's stun. This can protect your Dynas from a normal summon. This can hit a Harpies. This can hit a Raigeki. This can hit pretty much anything. If you're not running this, you're just gonna lose. Like when your opponent summons something big, you know, what are you gonna do? Solemn Judgment. There could be only one. So everyone knows what this card does because they've seen it and they go, "Ah, god damn it!" And you know, Vanquish Soul playing it. But what this card does, each player can only control one monster of each type. So if you have an Aqua, you can't summon another Aqua. If you have a Rock, you can't summon another Rock. If you have a Machine, you can't summon another Machine. So a lot of decks like to be monotype. So this card obviously outs them. But what about if they're not monotype? Well, that's where Clockwork comes in. Obviously this is only at 1 now, not at 2 anymore. But here's how it works. If you have Clockwork Knight on the field, all face-up monsters in the field become Machine. And if you have this, you obviously can only control one Machine. So the question would become, if you have a Fossil Dyna on the field, can you summon another Fossil Dyna? Because this would be a Machine, and this in the hand would be a Rock. Yes, but when you summon that new monster, the game it turns into a Machine, and then this goes, hey, wait a second, you can't control 2 machines. Do you get to choose which one you want to send? No, this sends the one that just got put on the field. It doesn't matter what you summon. If you summon any card at all, while you already control a card, and on resolution you control 2 monsters, the one that you just summoned goes bye-bye. Which is really important, because it means that even decks that don't run monotype, like only one type, it still floodgates them. And it's really powerful in that sense. If you can get both this and this in the field, not many decks can play. Especially because people don't know this interaction, they will try to summon, and then it just goes to the graveyard. And they sit there going, well, what? I had someone who had... Let's look up tier elements, but not with the D. He had a Rhino Heart in the field, and he wanted to summon this. I think I actually he had some other card in the field. So he summons this. As these cards get flipped, this card gets flipped up. He summons this, and you know, he's like, oh good, I can summon this. I'm playing around his cards, because this is a Machine on the field. And I'll just be able to choose the other one, maybe. It goes on the field, and it gets sent to the graveyard. And he just can't summon it. Importantly, this is, in Rivalry, it's not very well worded, but on this card, they must send some to the graveyard. So you don't send it to the graveyard, they send it. This is the same as Herald the Abyss. So this card can't activate in the graveyard. It doesn't get its effects. Let's go to the last card here, Crackdown. You don't need to play this anymore, I don't think. But the main thing this does is it's protection. It can protect your Fossil Dyna from a card. You just steal their monster, which is nice. But the main thing that I found it does is, how does this deck out Borland? It doesn't. This deck cannot out Borland. You can't target it with Malong. You can't destroy it with Raigeki. You can't... I don't know what else you do. You can turn it into a machine, but it still has 3k, and it can't be destroyed by battle anyway. So what do? You crack down it. This will steal it because, what people forget, this card cannot be targeted, but only by monster effects. This is a trap, so it can target it. This works fine. This is your only out to Borland. Is Borland going to be as relevant in the new meta? No. I don't think so. They can probably cut this. There's some other cards worth mentioning. Evenly matched. You can run this. I don't, because I found that you'd brick on it. Like, this card can out Borland, and it does some stuff. This doesn't help you do something that you can't already do. It's like, if they have Omni Negates on the field, you're kind of screwed anyway. Which, in this meta, there's going to be a lot of them too. And if you're going first, it doesn't help. So, whatever. But, yeah, I think that covers every card in the deck. What do I think is going to be the future? I don't know. I think it's going to include this card, though. You can't activate your monster effects, or you can't attack. Because you don't control any set cards in your spell and trap zones. And you are playing the deck that runs 0. Also known as Super Heavy Samurai. Is that how it's going to go? I don't know. I think there might be some more sphere modes. Also. I don't know if you play it in this deck, but you can get Morganite. You probably run 3 Morganite in a sphere mode. And then just tribute 3 of their cards with the sphere mode. And then just summon your Dyna. And kind of win that way. Anyway, this is the deck. Hopefully this helps you understand, hey, what the hell is this card that my opponent summoned? Oh, it protects them once from destruction. Interesting. I hate this deck. Please stop showing me this deck. What the hell is this card? Oh. Or what the hell are these 2 cards together? Oh, that means that if I have a monster in the field, I can potentially summon one, but it'll go to the graveyard. Importantly, if you have Caesar Valius, you can target one of your raisins or whatever, and you can summon this after bouncing, and this will allow you to do that, interestingly, because by the time it's resolution, well, like, you get 0 cards in the field, because this bounces first. Oh, well, it's an if you do, so it happens at the same time. There's only ever 1 monster in the field, so this doesn't actually have the same effect as it would if they were just normal summoning another monster. So if you have something that can switch monsters, like a UA card, you could bypass this. But either way, hope this helps you learn a bit. Thanks for watching. Take care.